Okay, traders, so as discussed, the first thing we want to do is establish exactly what is the footprint telling us. And it's a great opportunity for me to reiterate what I said before, which is that, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of indicators or whatever, but if you're going to use all that stuff, at least understand what on earth is going on um, behind the scenes and, why people are using those numbers. So, for example, um, a lot of you may be familiar with courses if you've done them in the past where people will say, look, you've got to use the um, XYZ with the setting at 14, or you've got to use this moving average, the setting at 21 or 25 or 15 or 10 period or 200 period. Guys, I don't blame you because, everyone's been there at the start of their career where they would just be taking this stuff for granted and saying, yep, that's the perfect setting. Do people even go behind things like RSI, etc., break it apart? What exactly is that? As soon as you start breaking it apart, you understand it's a load of garbage. Basically, it's telling you what is already right in front of you. Basically, it's just distorting price and representing price, which is in front of you, but just manipulating it. Really not helping you. But don't take my word for it. You need to split those things apart. Spend the time breaking it apart. And my point is that I don't want you. The reason I'm saying all of this is not because I enjoy lecturing anyone or being right or wrong. It's not that. End of the day, you want me to help you, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to help you by pushing you towards not only, see, it's not only about me showing you tools and techniques, it's also changing your mindset completely. And one of the great opportunities I have to do that is, I've already done it in the foundation course where I've kind of shown you the depth of market and how that builds the volume profile. Because what I wanted to avoid doing is in the pro course, which you're obviously doing now, when we eventually get to volume profile, I didn't want to say to people, look, this is a volume profile, start using it. Makes no sense. I broke it down for you. I made you spend 3 months learning depth of market. Why? Because that's what forms the volume profile. The same thing I'm going to do now in the footprint is, I'm not just saying to you, look, use a footprint because I told you to use it. No, go behind the scenes, break the footprint down, which we're going to do now, and I'm going to show you a live video with the depth of market side by side. I'm going to show you exactly what the footprint is, how the footprint is created and formed, and that is obviously going to better your understanding of it. So again, sorry to give you this lecture twice because I said it before, but guys, don't take anyone's word for it when they tell you to use something or use this setting or do that. It's all nonsense. At the end of the day, you've got to prove it to yourself. So yes, I'm saying to you guys, a footprint is a great tool. Don't take my word for it. Do this yourself, which we're going to do together. Then I'd highly recommend you go and do it yourself. So um, again, apologies for the slight lecture there. It was no means trying to patronize anyone. I hope you see that I'm really just trying to help you because I see it time and time again in the retail sector, and also I see it in the institutional space with new people coming in to the institutional space, these graduates or whoever they may be. Again, it's exactly the same. They just want to be given something and they take it on blind faith, and that's where you can start to go wrong. Obviously, try and prove these things to yourself. So, how are we going to prove this to ourselves that the footprint is just a different incarnation of the raw data that you're seeing and nothing else? It's not manipulating the raw data, is my point. We're not averaging things out, we're not creating lags. All we're doing is literally taking what is already on the depth of, would you agree, on the depth of market, it's the rawest form of data, it's the best form of data, it's clean, it is transactions, it is what it is essentially. It's not like an indicator is taking price and putting a lens in front of it. The depth of market is actually the rawest data you can get. So to prove to you that the footprint is the depth of market, what we're first going to do is we're going to recap market orders, but only for a few moments, because you just spent the last 3 months doing it. So I'm not going to spend too long on it, just to remind you that essentially it is the demand side, right, of the equation. And that doesn't mean buying only. Obviously, as you know, it's buying and selling. This should be, you should know this like the back of your hand now. If you don't, then I would highly recommend you go back and do the exercise in the foundation course. Supply doesn't come into it. We're purely interested in demand for the reasons that I've mentioned many times in the foundation course. And just to reiterate that fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here. So let's zoom in. Just bear with me, sorry, whilst I get my bearings. So let's zoom in so you can see this a lot better. So that's obviously the whole footprint that you see there. Ignore this, you know, as I said, ignore this section here. We're going to come back to it in the next few slides, but essentially you see the whole footprint there, and then you see the depth of market layered on top of it. Okay, it's the same depth of market. So just have a look at the prices here, because I'm going to zoom out in a second. Right, let's see if we can get both of them in the screen. Okay, so I'm going to chop off the volume profile just to make it really zoomed in, because I want you to see what exactly is going on here. So this depth of market is the exact same instrument, same time, same everything, except this is depth of market. This is obviously footprint on a chart. Don't worry about what time frame, or obviously this is a Renko chart. Don't worry about any of that. All we're doing now is we're going to prove to ourselves that the footprint is what Envy tells us it is, that it's a raw form of data. So we're not just going to take his word for it. Let's strip it down and break it out. So I'm going to hit play, and obviously just reiterate that the market orders, as you know, is this column, right? So again, that should be very familiar to you, the demand side. We're not interested in this, and I'm going to show you why that is. Now, one thing I need to tell you is that essentially the Renko, similar to a time-based chart, obviously the candle won't stay static forever. There are certain criteria that cause you to move onto the next candle. So in time-based charts, obviously that is the number of minutes, right? So it could be, if you have a 5-minute chart, or a 1 minute, or whatever, let's say you've got a 1 minute chart. Every 1 minute candle will change. 5-minute chart, every 5 minutes candle will change. This also has criteria to make it change. It's more to do with volume and volatility, essentially. But again, I don't want to get into that because it's going to confuse the matter. The only reason I'm telling you this is because for me to really show you that the depth of market, the footprint is the depth of market in a different format, in my opinion, a better format, I need to catch it. I need to basically clear the depth of market the moment a new candle starts. So you can actually see from scratch how a new candle on the footprint is being formed. It's very, very difficult to catch it exactly where the candle is blank, because as you can appreciate, sorry, I just zoomed in accidentally there. As you can appreciate, what's actually happening is when a new candle forms, guys, it's forming as a new price level is achieved. And what happens, as you know, the depth of market is so fast, you may achieve a new price level and already start printing volume at that new price. So for example, let's say you clear 363 here and you immediately start trading. If I hit clear, that new volume that's traded on the new footprint, by the time I managed to hit clear, believe me, I was driving myself crazy trying to catch it at the exact time. It's virtually impossible. I didn't manage to do it. I managed to just about do it with one contract. So pretty much I got there in the end. But believe it or not, it took me several hours to catch a candle. I was sitting here trying to catch it because every time we managed to achieve a different price and move to the next candle, we already started printing volume so quickly at the next price. By the time I hit clear, the next candle already had volume on it, so I wasn't able to get it at, basically I wasn't able to reset this at the same time the candle moved. So you'll see that as I hit play. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit play and I'm going to wait for the first candle, next candle to form. So you can almost see a blank candle and a blank depth of market at the same time. So let's just hit play and I'm going to show you on this current candle and the new candle exactly what's going on. Let me find an opportune moment for this to... So let's just back this up before that one came in. So what essentially is going on here is, would you agree we're at 6.5 is the current price on the obviously bid side. So that's why it's showing 6.5 here. Okay, so that is 6.5. It's exactly the same area here, right? So that's the bid side. So this is the bid side. And essentially, what is it? It's the sellers, right? When a seller wants to get aggressive, what does he do? Hit the bid. Do you remember? You click the blank area. So this is aggressive sellers. So we can either call it bid side or sellers. And then obviously this is buying. Okay, that's why buying is green, and well, that's how you can set the colors however you want, but that's why I set it in those colors. And I will come back to what actually makes, because you'll notice on the sell side in these columns, they're not all red, only some are, and I'll come back, and it's to do with imbalances, and I'll explain that later as we go and explain that table at the bottom with delta and so on and so forth. But essentially, guys, all this whole area is, this square that you see here is just this square here. Except that the difference is this is cumulative, okay, and this is non-cumulative, which simply means is that it's additive, i.e. cumulative is additive, this is refreshing all the time. So best if I show you that as an example. So you see, ignore all this stuff here, this is the delta as well, which I'm going to explain later. Just focus on the footprint columns itself, the two columns, the bid and the offer, so the selling and the buying. Okay, so at the moment, would you agree we're at 2430 at 6.5 in terms of aggressive selling market orders? Now watch what happens as we print on the depth of market. I'm going to manually move this forward because it'll be too fast for you otherwise. Did you see that one contract appear? So I'm going to circle that as well, and look what happened. It went from 2430 to 2431. Right, so let's just do that again. If I can get the exact moment. So 2430. Now also keep an eye on supply and notice how it doesn't affect it. These and any of these in fact, but keep an eye on that because it's in the same price column, right? 6.5, 6.5. Look when one prints, what happens? 2430 changes by 1. Look what happens to 322 as well. Do you see that? It changed to 320, which made no impact. We printed one. Now I'm going to move it along even more. Do you see that? 320 to 353, guys. Nothing changed. It's still 2431. Supply has no impact. It's only the market orders. Okay. Do you see that? Went from 353 on the bids to 379. Again, it just stayed at 2431. No impact. Now, two contracts trade, market orders, what happened? 2433. Okay, guys? So that's, I think, enough for this particular candle. We're going to move on to the next candle where it'll be even more clearer. But I just wanted to show you it's happening on every candle. It's just by showing you on a fresh candle, it's just easier for people who aren't too familiar with footprint exactly what's going on. But look, that's essentially the candle. That's how to think of it. This area, you need to forget about all of this. Don't mean anything. All we're interested, why is that? Well, think about it, guys. I've said it many times in the foundation course. When these bids and offers are changing, are we actually transacting? No. Remember the spoofer in the pound dollar example I showed you? What was he doing? He had 170 odd contracts in cable and he pulled them. Did he actually trade there? No, he didn't. So even here, where this guy went from 320 to 370 and, you know, went up by 50 contracts on the bid, did he actually buy 50? No, he didn't. He just cancelled. No transactions took place. That's why I love the Footprint. Footprint is only interested in actual transactions that took place. How many transactions took place? 1 and 2, 3. So we went from 2430 to 2433. That's all I'm interested in. There are 3 transactions that took place. So now we're going to see it on... so let me just get rid of a lot of this stuff. Going to see it on a fresh candle and it'll be very, very clear. Just remember, this is the candle that you see on here. And it's simple, guys. This is the selling, because obviously, as you know, you aggressively sell when you hit the bid. And this column is the buying, the right hand side. Just get rid of that. Because as you know, when you get aggressive and you buy, you do what? You lift offers, you hit the blank space there. So it's going to go a little bit fast, but I'm just going to let it play until the new candle forms, and I'm going to show you what I was talking about before, where I managed to catch it with just 1 contract. There you go. Can you see that? Now this is what I was talking about before, guys. So someone lifted 93 to do what? Make the price go bid up to 6.5, 7. And did you see it prints 1 here, which shows us 1 here, which I've obviously showed you. It's just the market orders. Now, as I hit clear, obviously I've cleared this, but that 1 is already printed there. So you'll have to forgive me, you know, I'm not Superman and I'm not a machine. I didn't manage to catch it. So you see I'll clear the depth there. Did you see I cleared it? So I just want you to know, sorry about that. Moved that around by accident. I just wanted you to see that you know, it wasn't possible for me because I don't have superhuman speed. And in fact, it's a miracle I even caught it. Like I said, I was trying, apologies, I changed the slide there by accident, but I was trying for hours to catch it, and this is the best I managed to do it. So, you know, pretty happy about that. And it's all for your benefit. So I can show you cleanly that what is printing here is printing here. So as we've seen, we've already printed 1 contract at 7 on the aggressive buy side. So let me just mark that here. I'm going to put sells and buys, and just to confuse matter more, it's basically the bid and the offer, isn't it? Remember, you're lifting offers to buy aggressively, hitting bids to sell. You do this all the time in your retail platform anyway, as you know, you bid and offer to buy and sell. So let's let this play out, and I'm going to keep pausing it so you can see what is going on. Now remember, we've already transacted 1 and you saw that yourself. It is there. There you go. You can see the 1 there. It's just that I cleared it. So now let's see what happens as we go along. Okay, so what's happened now, guys? Can you see? All that's happening is we're just accumulating everything that's trading on the depth of market is accumulating here. So would you agree we had 1 there already? What's 1 plus 1? 2. Now we've just traded 1 selling aggressive 6.5. Look, guys, 6.5. 1. You see that? It's 1, and then obviously that 1 plus the other 1 we already had is, so now it's 2-1. Okay. So let's let this play again. Can you see what's happened there? Basically, we've now got what? So we've got 409. So I'm just going to show you why that is. Why have we got 178 there and 409, guys? So it's because it hasn't had a chance to actually print this, which you'll see in a sec. There you go. So there was a ever so millisecond lag between the two, but that's just a data phenomenon where the data, because like I told you, the depth of market is raw data, is hitting the depth of market immediately. And because we're using a platform, obviously, and the In fact, this proves my point even more. The footprint is keying off the raw data. So the raw data is hitting the depth of market. That's why it took a millisecond for it to transfer depth of market into the footprint. So this 374, and you can see here 438. Essentially, what is that? So can you remember we already had 1 there? What's 1 plus 27? 28, so that's why there's 28. Okay, what's 408 plus the 1 we already had there? 409, so you see 409 there. Now look, 178 printed as a cell, so that shows 178. Okay, plus 29 is 438, yeah? 409 plus 29 is what? 438. Okay, so that's what you're seeing, guys. Now what I want you to notice is these bids and offers here are all changing, but it makes no difference. Okay, so do you see we went 178 printed on the bid, but we're showing 145 on the supply. But can you see it here? No, it's not there, guys. Supply, we don't care about it, because these are all changing all the time. They're not actual transactions. Actual transactions took place at 7 were the 178 contracts that sold aggressively. Okay, and the delta, which we're going to come to in a second, is just the difference between the two. So I'm going to let this play out a little bit, because I think you're getting the message. I want you to do this yourselves, by the way, so you can prove it to yourself exactly what is going on. Okay, so buying, you see, this is why I love this thing, because now I can see straight away without having to look at the depth of market. Oh, we've had 508 aggressive buys at, just get the pen, 7, right? But look, guys, my depth of market is only showing 99. Why is that? Because we revisited that price so many times, it kept resetting. But what did I say? This is cumulative. This is non-cumulative. So that 508 was as a result, if you keep an eye there, can you see that? 408. And then we printed another 99 there, and so on and so forth. So it's just cumulatively adding all the time. Because that 408, you see that 408? Right? Because we went down and printed it again, it's gone. See, guys, you need the photographic memory if you're going to trade the depth of market, but with the footprint, it's beautiful. All right, you don't have the supply, and obviously that's something you give up. But like I said, that's algos, they're faking, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Really doesn't bother me that I'm giving that up. And there are other tools you can use, not to complicate matters, to show you supply on a chart, and you know, that's something for much further on in your career. For now, this is a great tool to essentially give you the depth of market, in my opinion, in a much better format. So we're just going to let this play again. I think you hopefully are getting it now. So look, we see the 512. There was already 1 there, plus 1 is 513, so you see that there. You can see the more we're trading here, there's the 36, there's the 36. Keep replaying this at slow motion if you need to. But hopefully I've proved my point, that all that is printing on the footprint is what is printing here in these inside 2 columns. And just think of this as the candle, this area. Because that is exactly what it is. A very badly drawn candle, apologise, but okay, so you see the 36 here, 36 there. It's exactly the same. We've traded 858 plus the 1 that was already there, 859. You see, even though this is trading now 209, I actually know we've traded 700, 800, 900, because it's cumulative. It's adding everything we've traded there since the last time we went there. Okay, so you can see that 5 printed there, there's the 5. Just going to let this play out a bit. Again, on your own time, obviously on your iPhone or Android or whatever it is, or on the desktop you're watching this, slow it down, guys. Press pause, prove it to yourself that what you're seeing here in these inside two columns, the buys and sells, is what's here. Okay, so you see that 670 sold? Look at it. It's adding there. Can you see it? 673, 674, 674, 675. 37 plus 10 that was already there. It's the same prices, 8 and 8. See, the trouble is, because we keep revisiting these prices, they keep resetting. The beauty of the footprint is it doesn't reset. It doesn't matter how many times you revisit prices. The only thing that causes the footprint to reset is a new candle. And the beauty is, if you think about it, the old candle does what? Stays in the chart. As you know, I reference old candles. How would you know what's traded on the depth of market earlier on in the day unless you had the candle showing you that? So hopefully that's clear. Okay, so obviously this is why I wanted to show you a fresh candle, because as you see, the more the candle's formed, the less it represents the depth of market. Why? Because this is cumulative and obviously this is non-cumulative. So every time we come back, as you should be familiar because you've done so many exercises in the foundation course, every time we revisit prices in the depth of market, the market orders reset themselves, don't they, to zero, and then they start going up and down, up again themselves. Whereas look, this doesn't go back to zero. The only time it happens is when we change candles. So there's about 3 minutes left. I'm going to let it play out so I can show you the whole candle. And then we're obviously going to flip to the next candle eventually once certain criteria are met. See how we've been on the same candle for quite some time. It's not a time-based candle. This is measuring essentially volatility. So it's not complicated. I will show you when we come to look at candle types, etc. So you can see here between, say at 8, if I just looked at my depth of market, I would think this is what I traded here at 8. But actually, what have I traded at 8? 1,645 sellers, 1,459 buyers. That's not shown here on the depth of market. For me to know that, I need photographic memory. I can look at volume profile as well. There you saw the candle flip over. So let's just take stock as we've got a new candle. Guys, can you see what this is telling me? Invaluable information. If you look at this, for example, 7.5, right, which is the equivalent of this. If I just looked at my depth of market, it's showing me we've traded 80 on the bid side and 267 aggressive buyers at that price, right? Actually, the reality is, over the last whatever period that was, 5-10 minutes, we've traded 1,280 sellers, 2,117 buyers, and it's the same over here. And actually, this is a much better example of why I like to use the footprint a lot, because I feel like it's a better representation. And you'll see this when we go through examples and stuff, but this is a great time for me to show you this. Let's look at the next price level. A lot of it is to do with time efficiency as well. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm watching 8 trade a lot, I probably know that the buys and sells are pretty even, but what if I take my eye away for one moment? Or what if I forget? Or what if we revisit it 5 minutes later? I'm not going to remember that. What? Well, look at 8 over the last 5 minutes. According to the depth of market, we've traded 162 sellers and 900 aggressive buyers. Does that not, on the face of it, appear like we've got aggressive buying coming in? Actually, the reality is that's not the case, is it? Because over the last 5 minutes, what's the footprint telling us? We've actually traded 1,674 and 1,459. So actually there've been more buyers than sellers in the last 5 minutes. Rewind this video and count. I'm not going to do it here because obviously in the interest of time you can do this yourself, but if you scroll back, can you see how they're changing? If you count that 1512, add it up to 162 and etc, etc, it's going to add up to 1674 is my point. But you saw what happened there is when we first printed the 1512, we printed it, we moved away from it, and we went back to it. Do you see? So it started, you see that? It started to print again from 0. So we printed 1512, market went offered, i.e. went down. Then we went bid again. See that? And it reset. That 1512 went away. You see on the footprint, it doesn't go away, guys. It stays there. So you see that there, 1674 essentially. Okay, so where were we? Somewhere around here. I'm just going to hit play again and let it play out. Let's get rid of some of this. Just got 1 minute. I'm going to let it play out. That's the end of it. Hopefully you get that, what is going on now, that it is market orders. We're now moving away from supply for the rest, the majority of the pro course. As you know, we're moving away from supply. Much further on in your career as you get advanced, there's things like heat map and whatever you'll hear about if you do your own research. But guys, that's much further on in your career. It's not going to make any difference to you. It's nice to have it as a little add-on. I'll mention to you, but I move away from supply now. It's all about market orders. So once this video is finished, we're just going to obviously move on to other elements of the footprint. But I'll probably refrain from mentioning it too much that it's market orders. I'm just going to assume you've got it. It's market orders. So you see that, you can see it there, 1135, 1135, yeah. You see these offers are changing? Nothing's changing there. 289, 257, it's all moving around. The only thing that's making the offer side change is the market orders. So 5 printed, 5 printed. Okay guys, great. I hope that was useful to you. We've proved it to ourselves. We've broken it down. Yeah, apply this logic to everything you're doing in life, in the charts. You know, if you've got your own ideas in terms of how you want to trade, you should be breaking things down like this. Hope that was useful. I'll see you on the next section where we'll further our understanding of the footprint. Cheers.